If the Devils are dancing, then so are we. Special edition of the House Hardcourt. It's the House Dance Party. I'm Scotty Gaines. He's Jordan Palacio. Jordan, I'm feeling good.
Oh my God, look at this place right now. What a time to be alive. The Devils make it into the tournament for the second year in a row. You and I are going to break down on the dance floor right here, Scotty. But before that, let's break down Arizona State's bracket. One way or another, the Devils have found their way into the biggest dance in sports. The Devils have their play-in game against St. John's later tonight, and the winner of that game faces number 6 Buffalo. But if the Devils were to win those two games, who else would they possibly see? Well, at the top of the bracket sits number 1 Gonzaga coming into the tournament at 30-3. And it's not March Madness if there isn't a 5-12 upset. And there could be easily one in the West bracket as the Marcus Howard-led Marquette take on Ja Morant and Murray State in what could possibly be the best game of the first round. And as you comb through the rest of the bracket, only a couple of other teams stick out. First, number 7 Nevada, whom the Devils lost to earlier in the year, could be a sleeper. And of course, there's number 2 Michigan, who are somehow able to avoid Duke and are eyeing up another possible Final Four run. And as far as the rest of the bracket goes, nothing really catches the eye, which if you're an ASU fan, that's good news. This is arguably the most wide-open bracket in the tournament, and it could be the Devils' chance to silence the naysayers and turn a lot of heads. And speaking of heads, we bring in 2 more right here, our local bracketologists, Quinn Jameson and Eric Ruby. Guys, welcome. And I hear you guys have some things to talk about in terms of filling out your own bracket.
Exactly. Couldn't be happier to be here, Jordan.
I mean, when you look at the NCAA bracket,
Yeah.
you know, and this NCAA March Madness in general, it brings people together, you know, it unifies people. The college basketball nerds who watch every game, and that guy who sits by the water cooler is like, Duke, huh? Just those 2 people coming together, filling out brackets, and if you're looking at this video right here, right now, trying to find your advice to fill out your bracket, well, don't worry, we've got you covered, which is why we've made the How to Make Your Bracket. So starting off at the number 1 seed, our Duke, per se, is going to be coming in at do your research. Number 1 seed, listen to those talking heads, do a little bit of light reading, maybe even find some stats.
Coming in at number 2, it's a little bit simpler. Just follow your gut. If you like a team, take them all the way. If you like a player, take that team all the way.
I love that right there. Love
you
that.
Like that one?
Love
But
that
you might
feeling.
like this one too,
Okay.
Jordan. Number 3, this is the most fun one, even
Yeah.
the most fluffy one. It's going to be choosing the mascot. You know, what mascot would win in a fight, what color it is. Choosing the mascot, in my opinion, the most fun way to fill out your bracket.
And now coming in at number 4, it's one that's going to take a little bit less time. You don't need to do any research. You don't even need to know the mascots. You just do it based on the seeding. You could take the high seeds all the way, and that might end up okay for you. Or if you're feeling upsets, low seeds the entire tournament long, and you'll have some fun doing it.
Speaking of upsets, let's go to our bracket. So 1 versus
please do.
4.
Yes.
We have number 1 coming in, do your research. Now, personally, when you do your research, sometimes you can find some pretty ugly things, and research might be the Duke of our bracket, but we found some pretty ugly things on Duke. That coming in their 3-point shooting percentage, the lowest out of any team in the tournament.
Wow.
Any team. And they're a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So looking at your research, you might be a little bit wary of Duke and looking into all that sort of stuff, focusing on 3-point percentage. Research can really give you some valuable information.
And Eric's exactly right. Research can give you a lot of great information, including, as he talked about, 3-point percentage. So I'm going to highlight the Wofford Terriers. Now, they're a 7 seed that you probably don't have going very far in your bracket, but the Terriers are shooting 41.6% from behind the arc. That's good for 2nd in the country. They have 4 players all shooting above 41% from 3-point percentage. That, in my book, is upset material. I could see them making a run. They have Seton Hall in the first round. And after that, who knows? Wofford Terriers.
I'm a huge Wofford guy, Eric.
Huge Wofford guy?
Yeah, huge.
That's a great name and a great mascot.
Yes.
We'll get to the mascots later, but focusing on just this matchup, I think we have to give research its due. It's going to be moving on, but you know, if you're a little bit of a time crunch, you know, you just realize you have that last-minute office bracket you want to put in, all high seeds, all low seeds, even all high seeds. You might even win that thing, but let's move to the 2-3 matchup. It's going to be number 2, your gut feeling versus number 3, choosing the mascot. Now, with the gut feeling, I've got a gut feeling right here, and it's not just me because I haven't eaten lunch yet. It's my gut feeling for Ja Morant and Murray State. I think that March Madness is where stars are born, and I think Ja Morant will be a star, so my gut's telling me, hey, Murray State might be that team that makes a little bit of a run nobody knows about. So, you know, the gut can also give you some more valuable information, but not based off of numbers.
Now for me, my gut is telling me Spartans. Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans. There's just something about East Lansing that I think is going to take them all the way to the Final Four. Now, Michigan State, they won the Big Ten. They are hot. They've won 10 of their last 11. I'm sorry for throwing a stat in there, but I'm a big stats guy.
He is.
Michigan State, they've got my gut.
And then coming in at the 3 seed. It's going to be choosing your mascot. Like I said, it's fluffy, it's fun, it's a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been in a bracket with somebody where they've done that, and their bracket usually turns out better than yours, the one who does a lot of research. So I think we're going to push mascots through here and move them on to the final
I hope so.
championship game.
They deserve it.
Mascots, not only is it fun, but it works. I'm thinking UC Irvine, the Anteaters. Name a better mascot than the Anteaters. I'll wait because you cannot. Now, the Anteaters, they can play too. They're a 13 seed, but they've won 16 straight games. They're one of the better defensive teams in the tournament, also solid on the boards. That 13 seed, I think they could give Kansas State some problems.
My mascots look for. I'm sticking with Murray State, the Racers. There is no other team named the Racers. I mean, and you don't want to be that guy who's picking the tournament by mascot and you run into two Tigers or two things like that. What are you going to do then?
Exactly, Eric. That's a great point, because if you're thinking about all the mascots in college sports, there's not as many as you think. 18 mascots are shared between the 68 NCAA tournament teams, and furthermore, 7 are very similar. Like you have your Duke Blue Devils, Arizona State Sun Devils. Are they different? Yes. But are they similar? Yes. So you do have to watch out when you're using the mascot.
This guy likes his stats.
You see that? You see that? Another number.
What can I say?
Coming into the finals, going back to stats, we got do your research versus choosing the mascot. Now, Jordan, we'll ask you, who do you think is going to come out of here, or do you think that we made the wrong decision in the first round?
I don't think so. You got to have, it's either do your research or the mascot, because those are the only two ways to win a bracket pool, I think. It's either you're going to choose the better Wildcat, or you're going to go with what Joe Lenardi is telling you.
Absolutely.
And that's Jordan's gut feeling, which we
eliminated.
Wow, we are bringing it
full
all
circle
together here.
Oh,
But
wow.
In the end, we've decided
Please.
that in an upset,
Oh.
choosing the mascot beats the research. Take that for data. We chose the mascots because it's just more fun at the end of the day. And what's more fun than filling out your bracket and, competing in this beautiful time that is March Madness.
It's great. Quinn and Eric, I thank you both immensely for coming on to House of Sparky. Our two local bracketologists, Eric Ruby and Quinn Jamison.
We're focused. We're definitely focused, but we're enjoying the moment. We're enjoying every moment that we have with him. I'm definitely enjoying every moment I have with this guy right here. It's just last year, so everything has been smooth, fun, but we also know what we came here to do.
So the Devils are fired up, and so are we, and especially so am I. I get to be hanging out with Zach Keenan in studio. He's going to help us in a new segment called Hot or Not, because we're at the dance party. We got to figure out who's hot and who's not in ASU's upcoming matchup. So let's start with St. John's. Who are they? What do they bring to the table?
Well, let's get right to it. In my opinion, they're on a downward spiral right now. I think ASU may be catching them at the right time. Of course, if you ask me, they were knocked out of the second round of the Big East tournament by Marquette by a 32-point margin. I mean, that's massive. They lost 4 of their final regular season games, and only scoring above 80 points in one of those in a loss to DePaul. On the flip side, they're the exact kind of team that ASU has been known to play down to, which is not so good. They're sort of a middle-of-the-pack-like team like Princeton, and those are really one of the lowest lows of the season that ASU saw, so hopefully Sun Devil fans are going to look back at that one. But St. John's is a remarkable offensive team. Star guard Shamori Pons, he averages almost 20 points per game. Mustafa Haran, LJ Figueroa, these guys are awesome. They combine for this super fast-paced, dynamic offense. However,
Here we go. It's the however.
if
I love
ASU can out-rebound these guys, Zylan Cheatham, Romello White on the boards, they have this game in the books. ASU out-rebounds St. John's by several, I think almost 10 boards per game. These guys have them on rebounds. That's the key for ASU to take down St. John's.
Sounds like Romello White, Zylan Cheatham, Daquan Lake. That's the key for tonight.
Yeah, I'm swiping left, man.
You are, so they're not.
I'm saying not.
All right, let's go Buffalo. Are they hot or not?
This is tough. It's Bobby Early's old school. They took a gamble on Bobby, giving him his first head coach gig. He went 25-11 there. So it's got to be hard for him to go back. But I have to say it, these guys are a big right swipe for me. It's a lot of debate. They're entering the tourney on a 12-game win streak. They just won the MAC championship, didn't show any signs of slowing down up against Bowling Green in the championship game. So for these guys, they may be kind of hot.
So they're hot. Does ASU have a chance? What do they have to do?
One thing is watching out for CJ Massenberg. He likes to push the pace of the game when Buffalo gets in control. I think that some pundits think they're even Final Four contenders, which for me is a little bit of a stretch. Right. I'm not as easily enticed by their 31-3 record. They've only played one team this whole season that's still ranked, Marquette, whom they lost to 103-85. I don't think Buffalo has been able to hang with some real competition, so it's really a matter of whether or not ASU will bring their shooters to this one.
Yeah, ASU is kind of a hard team to really understand because they'll play so great against a good team and then they'll drop one against a bad team. We kind of saw that all year long, but let's just suppose they beat St. John's, they take down Buffalo, now they're playing, let's say, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
They're the favorite, hot or not?
Yeah, so Texas Tech for me, and for one, ASU fans would be pretty thrilled, I think, but Texas Tech is good, really good. Their defense is one of the top 3 in the entire country. They may not have the depth on offense, but no team this year, including Duke, has put up more than 80 points this year on Texas Tech. That's kind of awkward for me, and that forces me into this not position. I think that at the same time, though, there's a bright side. They're coming off of this big upset loss to West Virginia in the tournament, so I think the fast-paced defense that they've played so far, so long this season, may be tapping their energy. Right. I think for the Sun Devils, if they do see Texas Tech, then Remy Martin will have an awesome time making them run on their heels for the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Texas Tech, they're no doubt a great team. They're the favorite in at least ASU's quadrant to get out of there. Would you agree?
I think so. Truly, it's not a particularly incredibly strong bracket, but I think Texas Tech would be the ones to go out if nobody takes them down.
Zach, you're hot in here. You're feeling it today, man.
Oh, thanks so much, Scotty.
We've got a lot more dance party going on, and we got to send it to our bouncer real quick. Julian Paris is going to help us out on who is getting in and who's not getting into the club in the Pac-12.
It's March 20th, and you know what that means. It's time for another year of March Madness filled with upsets, game winners, and the possibility where Duke doesn't win the Natty and destroys my bracket once again. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Conference of Champions and the teams that did manage to edge their way into March Madness. Of the teams that did qualify, 3 teams will be representing the Pac-12. I'll start with the Oregon Ducks, who, congrats, won the Pac-12 Conference Championship. Oregon will be facing off against the Wisconsin Badgers. The Ducks have great momentum as of late and look to continue that against Wisconsin. Both teams have similar records, similar play, but Oregon could win this game based on the sheer possibility of teamwork. This team thrives on good play. If they manage to get a head start or play consistently, the Badgers are going to have a hard time fighting against Oregon. Next up, we have the Washington Huskies, who will take on Utah State, who is red hot right now and has a good flow of steam heading into the tourney. The Huskies have struggled to find an offensive identity in the championship game especially, but it's only a matter of time until we'll be able to see if they'll be able to make up for their woes against the Aggies. And finally, the Arizona State Sun Devils will battle it out with St. John's. The Sun Devils couldn't ask for a better matchup in this tournament. Yes, St. John's is a little bit more offensively equipped, shoots better from the free throw line, from the three-pointer, but Arizona State rebounds the ball, leaps and bounds better. This has been a key factor in their success this season. And with St. John's, a team that doesn't play very aggressive, Arizona State is looking like the favorite in this matchup. Now the real question is, who's getting bounced from the tourney altogether? Well, the truth is all of them. The Ducks, the Devils, the Huskies, they're just not good enough to make a national championship run. The Pac-12 isn't strong enough of a basketball conference to be having this discussion, but it should be fun nonetheless.
March Madness is all about playing the cards you are dealt, right? Call it how it is, or maybe I'm just here spitting my 2 cents, but the Pac-12 should be proud of where they are right now. In one of the worst and most ridiculed years ever for the conference, they got 3 teams in the tournament. 3. A red-hot conference champion, the Oregon Ducks, a team that earned it all in the Washington Huskies, and of course the Devils. And to be honest, it looks good. ASU's first 4 opponent has lost 4 of its last 5 games. It's not like Buffalo's any ridiculous mountain to climb. I mean, 5 of their last 6 opponents have all been schools from the same state of Ohio. Now, into Washington's end, they could pull a few tricks out of their sleeve and maybe even catch some luck along the way. And I'm not saying they're going to blow away opponents, make their way to the Elite 8 as a 9 seed, but just take a moment to recognize the so-called lost Pac-12 conference that snuck 3 teams into the tournament. And the not-so-pretenders but contenders, the 10-seeded Oregon Ducks, they might be the scariest double-digit seed in the whole country. Doing all of this, oh, by the way, without their jack of trades, Bol Bol. It's highly unlikely that any team from the Pac-12 will be singing Queen's rendition of We Are the Champions at the end of this tournament, calling themselves the kings of college basketball. But if I've learned one thing about Pac-12 ball in 2019, it's that it's all about making the right moves at the right time.
In sports, you're never supposed to get too high or get too low. And the Sun Devils pretty much did the opposite of that in the 2018-19 season. A roller coaster would be an understatement. The Devils were more like a seesaw, teetering between great success and embarrassing failure. At first, ASU looked to be the pride of the otherwise struggling Pac-12, winning tough games against Utah State and Mississippi State. Then came a defining win against the then #1 Kansas. Just as Tempe was celebrating, though, the Devils crashed back into reality with a loss to Princeton. And that was followed up with another loss to Utah. Fast forward, and the Devils lost to Washington State by 21, perhaps the lowest low of the season. The very next game, though, the Devils knocked off Washington, the only undefeated team in the conference. And to end the regular season on a high, ASU was able to sweep U of A for the first time in 10 years. But once again, gravity brought them back down to earth with an untimely loss to Oregon in the semifinal of the Pac-12 tournament. This season has one chapter left, and this week will determine if the seesaw soars back into success or crashes and burns without an NCAA tournament win.
Time for the top plays of the season for Arizona State. We're throwing 5 of them at you, just like Zylan Cheatham's throwing blocks. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
Chase down block from Zylan Cheatham. Coming in at number 4, Remy against U of A. Big play, Remy in OT. That ends the game in essence. ASU over U of A, part 1, Scotty.
That's a deep 3 right there, but I've got a better one for you. Kamani Lawrence breaking halftime, dropping it in. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Throw it up in the air.
At the buzzer.
Drop it in the hoop. You have to love that.
Number 2 play of the season for the Sun Devils against Oregon State, Remy Martin. Big play, Remy to Daquan Lake through the legs. It's so nice we have to see it twice. He catches a body, but not number 1, Scotty.
Obviously not number 1. This is Zylan Cheatham. Chuck it.
Oh, my.
I don't even have to say anything after that. Zylan Cheatham, the dunk heard round the world, heard round the Pac-12 conference. Good enough for the Devils' top play of the year. You know, we normally see 3 plays. We got to see 5 there. It just reminded me especially how much fun the season was, how many big plays, how many big moments there were.
I'll tell you what, this Arizona State team, win or lose, they were always entertaining.
Yeah.
There was always something to talk about with this team. Now, Scotty, season on the line against St. John's later tonight, maybe against Buffalo if they get a key win. But until next time, he's Scotty Gange. I'm Jordan Palacio. For our executive producers, Blaine McCormick and Noah Lau, it's House Hardcourt.